What's up, everyone? Kevin Allen here, aka the Geek from DFS Army, and this is our NFL Week 3 DFS Week in Review. All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another Week in Review as we talk about every single week, just as important as the study you do going into an NFL slate. We need to look back every single week, look at what we did, what went right, what went wrong, so we can learn, get better, improve on a week over week basis. And I don't know about you guys, but for DFS Army VIPs, I think we really crushed the content this week. A little bit of change up in how we did the Players Club pod, for example, our VIP only pod, kind of showing how to make lineups, build off of sort of a chalky approach, and work our way out to different lineups. And actually, I think even one of the lineups that pretty close to something that might have even we might have even done there worked out really well. Worked out really, really well. And a lot of the lineups really crushed because we were all over certain really, I'm going to say, great spots that hit. We talked about all throughout the week, Cooper Kupp and how great of a situation that was. I talked a lot about bouncing certain players, slight correlation from different games. And one of the big ones that I was all over this week was DK Metcalf and Justin Jefferson. You'll see that in some of the lineups we build as well. And we also had some incredible winners this weekend. So super excited to go through that. And just before we get into anything, I want to send some shouts out to some of these big winners from this weekend. Of course, we had, well, this is Sunday, so let me go through them one at a time here. A couple just big winners in MMA and MLB to mention. Mufasa, 50K. We had Louis here take down the MMA tournament, so really crushed that one. In NFL, we had a massive showdown winner. Listen, it's, we talked about on the Thursday slate the possibility of an in-game injury to Christian McCaffrey and what that might mean to the slate. And, of course, Yafaria, aka Bobby Millions, I believe took advantage of that, put an awesome lineup together. Tommy Tremble, who would have thought it? That's your super turd for that slate for Thursday Night Football, and the rare 40K win on the FanDuel Showdown. It's really hard to win those. On Sunday, I got this note from Trippin. Really, really great stuff. This is one win I really wanted to talk about the most because last week and all throughout the week and all throughout just every time, this is what we talk about constantly, the importance of not just entering massive tournaments with tens of thousands of entrants. It's so important, guys, because look at Trippin 0341's win here. This is the $150 SPY. This contest had just under 1,000 entrants in it. And you can see it only took a 193.12 this week to take second place, a couple percentage points away from first. Trippin also got fourth place in this contest. But the reason I want to really emphasize it is because this is a score that I hit a bunch of times this week. And I was in this contest, and I think I'm there just behind, or I might have been in this one or a similar power sweep. I'll take a look here. But these smaller contests are much more winnable. So you didn't need to go crazy. Trippin's lineup doesn't have, Cole Beasley and Emmanuel Sanders in it. It's just a nice, solid lineup this week that anybody could have put together. I'm pretty sure the Domination Station spit out something just like this. If you just switched off of Hawkinson down to Higbee, you pretty much hit this lineup with your first iteration. So this lineup is filled with what I would call the chalk of the week, right? And it didn't take much for a 10K win. So congrats to Trippin 0341 for that. I wanted to go through that. And let's get into it here, guys. The first thing I always like to look at is the cash lineup for the week. I'll show you what I did. And I'll be honest, I slapped this one I was really focused on. So for me, I was really focused on MME this week because we had the late news, two critical pieces of late news that I informed everybody about in the DFS Army Discord in the news and notes channel. The first one was that the Giants had made inactive Devontae Booker, essentially letting us know that they now feel confident that Saquon Barkley is the guy. They're going to give him a heavy workload. And at his salary in that matchup with a heavy workload, Saquon Barkley became an all-in play. The other even greater all-in play was when we found out from Schefter that Dalvin Cook was not likely to play in the game in the afternoon. So essentially, we got Dalvin Cook light, Alexander Madison for $6K on both on FanDuel and free on DraftKings, 5,200. I mean on DraftKings and essentially $6K on FanDuel. Both amazing prices. And so I scrambled real quick. I spent a lot of time going back to my MME. I went 95% Madison on FanDuel this week, of course, because I'm not stupid. And in my 150 really helped out over there. I also loaded up on Saquon Barkley to the tune of, I think, 70% exposure. On DraftKings, I was scrambling to make the changes to a lot of these existing lineups. I didn't get to all of them. Unfortunately, had I done that, really could have even been a bigger smash. Another play that I was really high on this week, and all of you guys kind of been talking about, cheat code Mike Williams. They still haven't raised the price. Mike Williams is playing the Michael Thomas role for the Chargers this week. And the crowd, the people who don't actually watch football games, they don't know this yet, right? They don't actually know what's going on with the Chargers. So we're just like last year when I told you Deontay Johnson, and we kept hammering that every single week last year because people didn't understand that he was the alpha and getting 10 targets a game. I didn't understand why. This season so far, it's been Mike Williams, and we've been loading up on him, and that's been paying off massive dividends. So real quick, let's get into a little breakdown. So I'll show you what I did in cash this week, and this was it. This was my cash lineup. It was pretty good here. So I got a 147. I went Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, unfortunately, disappointed, and that really held this lineup back. Had I gone with Matt Stafford, could have been a whole different ballgame. But I do have some regrets in hindsight, but not too much. This lineup was fine. I got my Barkley Madison combo in there. I got my Cooper Kupp core play in there. I got my Bengals defense, who I played a ton of. Always play the cheapest defense. So all correct moves. 1, 2, 3, 4. Needed a cheapie in here. So this was where I think I kind of have some regrets. I really wanted to use TJ Hawkinson, and in hindsight, that was not the move. He could have had a good game and it would have been fine, but there were just cheaper options at tight end, and you always want to. So in order to squeeze him in, I kind of had to go a little turtlier than I wanted at the wide receiver positions in this one. And again, I just didn't have a lot of time to spend on this lineup. I did not put a lot of effort into my cash this week. I was just focusing on MME for the most part, but that's unfortunate. So, but it still won for the majority. It won more than it lost. Now, I only entered head-to-heads. The lineup was good enough to cash in a standard cash format, so had I put it in, for the most part, a lot of the standard double-ups, it would have actually cashed a lot more. The lineup all around was good. Can't really do a ton of review on it because I don't even have a double-up contest to look at here to compare it to. So if anybody knows what the cash line was on the double-ups this week, let me know. But yeah, this all around was a pretty good lineup, and it did cash in more than it cashed in most of the head-to-heads. I think about 70% of the head-to-heads I was in. So pretty good lineup. I'm calling it a winner, but it was not the focus of my week. Obviously, I put it in with about 2 minutes to go, and even nowhere near all of my head-to-heads filled. But I knew I was going to be talking about a cash lineup, so I wanted to get one in there. Again, the hindsight move I would have changed would just have been to I liked Eckler, and I decided to go running back in the RB3 spot. I knew I had to play Kupp, so it was this trio right here of Boyd, Cephas, and Hawkinson that could have been changed. Number one, Cephas wasn't really on our chalkboard. If we take a look at the chalkboard, again, at tight end, it was Kelsey, Hawkinson, and Higbee. Higbee was right there in the mix. He was the right play, for the pay down. At wide receiver, you can see on the chalkboard, we had Osborne here as the higher chalk play, and that should have been the one that we went with. It would have actually produced a little bit better result, as Osborne did a little bit better here than what Cephas did. But the real move would have been to try to get Mike Williams in there, as I knew I loved Mike Williams. The only way to have done that would have been to go down from Hawkinson to Higbee. And again, in hindsight, that's something I would have done had I spent a little bit more time, probably. But anyway, that's what it was for my cash lineup. I want to go over a couple of other tournament lineups this way. I did really well in tournaments across the board this week. The small tournaments that I entered had pretty good results. And again, it was a lot of the plays that we talked about. The one that burnt me personally was tight end. I just didn't have enough Higbee on DraftKings. But I want to go over what actually won the Millie Maker this week. Pretty cool. You see here, it's interesting. You even cashed pretty well, even with some mediocre scores. So really interesting how that worked out. But I want to look at the Millie Maker winning lineup, and I kind of want to show you what the person did. Congrats to WMM70116 on this win. So one of the things we talked about, and we constantly talk about all offseason, all last week, is the type of stacks that win Millie Makers. And we've said, number one, never fade Josh Allen. We've talked about that. But it's the QB +2, same team, one from opposing team. And I want to show you what WMM did here to win. So the winning lineup, guys, the winning lineup. Ready? Josh Allen, Cole Beasley, Emmanuel Sanders. So the uniqueness here was usually when you play Josh Allen, you play him with Stephon Diggs, but he played him with the secondary guys, Beasley and Sanders, because that allowed you to afford some good stuff in your lineup. Love this move. The comeback. So QB, 2 from same team, Beasley, Sanders. Bring back one player from Washington. He brought it back with Logan Thomas. Now, Logan Thomas didn't smash. He wasn't the reason that you won, but okay. That was the 3-person stack that really helped. And then after that, the standard stuff that we did across the board, everything else here is really standard. Jefferson, Metcalf, that combo was one of the secondary combos I personally had in a ton of my lineups as well. Very obvious one. Didn't even need Cooper Kupp in this lineup, which is crazy. Alexander Madison, chalk. DeAndre Swift, we loved him this week as well. Cardinals defense, you want to play any defense going up against Jacksonville or New York. You could have done just as well by going all the way down to the Bengals here. He could have actually upgraded somewhere else and still been fine. So $1 million lineup, scores 223 fantasy points, lower scoring week than usual this week, but a very hittable lineup when you look at it. The part that was very unusual was just Allen with both Beasley and Sanders. That is so unusual. He's probably the only person that did this. Yeah. Run the back test correlation stacks. Josh Allen, at least 1 and no more than 3. Run 10 lineups and look at 6 plays. So essentially you're saying this pretty much pops up really quickly if you just run correlation stacks on the Dom station with Josh Allen. I noticed it too. When I was using my Josh Allen stacks, a lot of it was forcing in Beasley or Sanders, and I have that stack, but I did Josh Allen +1. I got a little cute. I didn't do +2 because I figured Josh Allen can do some damage with his leg. So didn't hit the millie. I did really well. Again, personally, in my mass multi-entry, I can show you, let's see here, recent. It's really not the easiest thing to work here, but, I didn't do much with the millie maker, but in my MME, I didn't do... Did I do the millie maker? No, I did the flea flicker. I did the flea flicker this week, guys. And again, it worked out pretty well for me as well. I came in 13th in the flea flicker, and check it out. So, you say in the back test, Josh, I ran this and I used it, but I did it +1. And so I wound up with Allen, Sanders. I got Jacoby Myers in there, my boy Mike Williams, who I was all over, but this happened, this happened to be a non-Alexander Madison lineup, one of the very few. And of course, Hawkinson was the one who sunk it. It wasn't even the lack of Madison. He did much better, but just look at the same lineup again. You swap from Hawkinson to Higbee and swap in Madison, and this takes this tournament down 50K. So it was really, really close for me this week in the flea flicker. Personally, I'm just going to show you a handcrafted lineup. I actually only made... I ran MME on Fanduel as well, worked out really well, but no great lineups. But check this out, man. Oof, was it close? And I only made 2 handcrafted lineups on Fanduel this week. I did come in 8th place in the championship qualifier. This was my handcrafted lineup. And again, you'll notice all the players that I mentioned and liked this week, and they repeat all over and over again. So this is exactly the way I told you guys to construct lineups. It was, On Fanduel, it's lock in Madison, lock in Barkley. I had them 100% in every lineup because I was able to go back and do these. So those two were 100%. The value was too good. I went 100% all in. And honestly, the field didn't, because the field should have, but they didn't. As a handcraft, Russell Wilson really sunk this one, unfortunately, but I did exactly what I said I was going to do with every lineup. Metcalf, Jefferson in that game. That was my favorite game. Seattle, Minnesota, which didn't score as well as I thought it would. But I loved Metcalf for the comeback this week. Jefferson, Mike Williams, all over that. Like I said, I was very, very high on him. And, the rest of this lineup looks pretty good. Just Russell Wilson disappointed. Wound up in 8th instead of 1st. In a qualifier, it's first place or bust for the most part. And, of course, because this is FanDuel and it's all fucked up, I don't even think I can get back to that screen I was just on, because that's how FanDuel's system works for history. But that lineup also cashed pretty well in the other tournaments I put it into. Really, really close to a live final appearance. Let's take a look at what won a tournament on FanDuel last week, a giant tournament. So this was my result. No, this is the fuck. All right, of course, this is the night game. I don't want that. Let me go find a tournament again here on FanDuel. I just want to show you what won. That's Thursday. All right, let's get back a couple. Here we go, Sunday. Just want to show the lineup that won the tournament. FanDuel doesn't always. Here's the Sunday Million. $1 million to first. Love this contest. Very winnable. So let's see what won it. $1 million. M. Sherrill, 25. Okay, so M. Sherrill, here we go. Actually didn't use Saquon Barkley. Could have. Didn't even need him. He was like, I don't even care. But take a look. So Herbert, Mike Williams, Travis Kelce. 3-person stack. 3-person stack. You don't need to stack as hard on FanDuel as you do on Draftkings, because salaries are just much looser, and that's something I've definitely found. FanDuel is easier. It is softer. And again, Draftkings, I tell you all the time, is tailored towards professional players. FanDuel is tailored towards more casual players. So if you're not winning on DraftKings, you need to shift over to FanDuel. It's designed to be a little bit easier to play. And the reason it's easier to play is because you can afford whoever you want. When they give you Alexander Madison at 5,200 and he's only 20% owned, I went 100% Madison. But look what happened in this tournament, guys. I want to point this out. Because the players on FanDuel are less professional, they don't actually adjust their lineups. On DraftKings, this motherfucker wasn't even as good of a play, and he's shooting up like crazy in the ownership. But on FanDuel, look, I mean, the best play on the entire board, the best play by far, is only 20% owned. So there's such edge on FanDuel. I'm begging you to know this. I played him 90%. He deserved to be 100% owned. He was 5,200, starting running back on a great situation. Mike Williams was the guy who I gave out as a core play, of course, and he absolutely smashed with a 29.7 this week. And again, this won $1 million. A simple Herbert, Eckler, Madison. Eckler was our core play at running back. Madison, we loved him. Cooper Kupp, all over that. Mike Williams, all over that. Just throw in the most expensive. It didn't even need Travis Kelce. Hitting the right defense in this case was the reason this won the million. But there was a lot of, and is that, yes, that is across the board in most. Scotty Newman knows. Been tearing up FanDuel because it's less professional. Look, they only played 15. Again, this is the big $1 million tournament, and the absolute best smash play on the entire board, Alexander Madison, is only 20% owned. And when I say the best play, by far, it's probably one of the best plays and easiest plays in the history of this, beyond that time when Taysom Hill was a starting quarterback available at the tight end. Like, it's one of the greatest, simplest play, and he only went 19% owned. Of course, I cashed in this fucking tournament almost every lineup because I went 100% Alexander Madison, because I'm not a fucking moron, right? But look how many morons there are. 80% of the people who enter this tournament. So you can win on FanDuel in these big contests. This is, I'm going to, I don't have any benefit from telling you that, but I'm just letting you know. So it's not a fluke, Buffo. I've been talking about this all season. Mike Williams is playing the Michael Thomas role. They brought over the offensive coordinator that worked with Sean Payton for all those years. He is running this offense, and he has Mike Williams in the role that Michael Thomas used to use. Doesn't mean Keenan Allen is bad. Keenan Allen is still a better route runner than Michael Thomas, but Michael Thomas runs the routes that score touchdowns, and they're throwing to him 9 to 12 times a game. So Mike Williams was always a beast, but they didn't throw to him. Now they do. I mean, that's one thing but what excuse? Yeah, I mean, Carson, I never play Carson in the tournament, but what excuse do you have for not playing him on FanDuel when he's 5,200 and he opened up whatever the fuck you want to do? So there's no excuse. There's no excuse. But FanDuel is just an easier format. It's designed to not be as favorable to professional players. Play here. There are less good players on FanDuel compared to DraftKings. The better players play on DraftKings. So anyway, but look at the winning lineup here. This is nowhere near the nuts, by the way. You could have scored a much higher. As a matter of fact, I think I can show this. Hold on. I'll show you what the actual nuts score could have been. Let's see if we have this in the back test mode yet. I'm going to check and see if we've got this loaded from back test. Yes, we do. So I'm just going to real quick show you what the nuts lineup was. It doesn't even matter what it was. It doesn't matter because no one achieves it. Let me reset settings here. This is back test mode. Let me reset my settings. Okay. Yeah, we're going to reset. And I'm just going to show you what the nuts lineup was. This week we have that ability. We're going to optimize by Final Fantasy points. I'm going to show you how much higher it was than that. So the greatest lineup score you could have achieved this week was a 222. The Millie Maker actually won. What did he score here? So he scored a 204. The actual nuts lineup on FanDuel was a 222. Kareem Hunt had a big week. Is this the right week? Okay, there it is. Wouldn't have thought to play him. Saints defense, sure. James Robinson. Wow. I mean, what a strange lineup, right? With James Robinson. It doesn't even have Alexander Madison in it. So, it's crazy. But that's what it took, man. No one was going to play this. 2% owned Kareem Hunt. Unowned Tyler Conklin. Very low owned New Orleans Saints. Yeah, Robinson had a big week. Actually, my buddy called me up, props to him, and was like, I'm going to play Robinson this week. And he played him, and he actually smashed the early slate. He was like, you know what? He's been touted. It shouldn't have happened, but it did. That's how it goes. So anyway, let's take a look at what the actual nuts are. Since we're in here, let's take a look at the actual DraftKings nuts lineup. Again, we know that these lineups are not achieved. Yeah, Fields was terrible. A-Rob, just playing him. Ugh. But Fields does not look ready for the NFL yet. Obviously, sometimes you got to, whenever you have a running quarterback, you play a little bit of that just in case. But, that didn't work out very well if you played him. It was a disaster. He looked like shit. But what we are learning also is you've got to target these rookies from this year are so bad compared to the past. I don't know why, but we need to start paying up for defenses facing Lawrence, facing Zach Wilson, of course, facing Fields if he comes back out, and facing Mac Jones. You got to start paying up for these defenses, as brutal as that's going to be. So hopefully they won't be priced up that much. But these rookie quarterbacks have been just absolutely awful. So let's see what the perfect lineup was on DraftKings this week. So note here, DraftKings, this is why I say professionals. The Millie Maker winner won with a 221 or 222, but the best possible score was 261. It's not a lineup that anybody was going to play. Look at the ownership on it. 75. It's not even that bad, but let me see how much money. 49.7. Technically not too bad, but it would have been a Josh Allen, Emmanuel Sanders stack. Kareem Hunt, fucking A, no one played him. Najee Harris. Mike Williams, Cooper Kupp. So we love these guys. Our chalk pieces, Justin Jefferson. It's funny. It's funny. Guys were all over. Jefferson, Kupp, Mike Williams. Great. A little bit switched up at running back with Josh Allen at the helm. It was very achievable this week. Could have done it. Could have done it. Wish I would have made more handcrafted lineups that look kind of like this. Emmanuel Sanders was not probably someone that I would normally click on, but yeah, with the Josh Allen, Emmanuel Sanders stack, sure, that was, okay. It's funny. I talked about Najee Harris and the lack of Deontay Johnson being on the team favoring him getting more dump offs because they've been just doing those dump offs to Deontay. So let's see if that trend continues as well. Najee didn't even have a great game. It was just a classic Ben Roethlisberger loves to dump off to the running back type of game. And that is who Ben Roethlisberger has been for his 28-year career. And he's not going to stop doing that now. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. That is the week in review. Great week for me. Profitable week for me. Profitable week for a lot of DFS Army subscribers, which I love. Love to see it. Love to see the core plays crushing our 2 core plays at wide receiver, Cooper Kupp and Mike Williams. Absolutely destroyed the slate. We talked about Jefferson to Metcalf. Like, we hit the perfect guys this week. Let's hope we can keep that going. And I expect more of that as the season rolls on. The first couple weeks of the season, I know people get discouraged, but there's just not that much data. There's a lot more guessing in the first few weeks of a season. That's just how it is. People get frustrated because they're guessing and they're guessing wrong early in the season. That's just how it goes. Now we have more data every single week. Every week we're able to be more accurate with what we are predicting will happen next week based on what happened last week. So good luck, everybody. We've got a big game tonight. Cowboys, Eagles. I am putting the showdown breakdown behind the DFS Army paywall tonight. So it's going to be subscribers only. I'm excited. I got Bobby Wow, the GOAT, a.k.a. the $1 Million Man, breaking the shit down. And oh my God, his last 2 calls on like last night, his play of the night, Brandon Ayuk, the Cephas call last week. I mean, he's been on fire. So I can't wait to see what he's got to say about tonight's slate and about some edges, because there are a ton of great looking players in that contest. All right. We'll be back here next week as always, guys. Yeah, Bobby's been fire. Subscribe or you fucking know it, man. Don't forget to subscribe to DFS Army if you're not subscribed, man. Get over on the DFS Army site. You can use my promo code Geek, gets 10% off. There's also a free offer page for non-members where you can sign up for any number of DFS sites, pretty much everyone in existence, any of the prop sites. You get a free month, you get 2 free months. You can piggyback those. So do it. Just check it out. Sign up for fucking Super Draft or Prize Picks or Owner's Box or any of that. And again, that's only for not currently subscribed members. Nice try, guys. Bring them in and tell your friends. DFS Army, that's the place to be if you want to win. All right, we'll see you next time, boys. Good luck, and I will see everybody in probably about an hour or so for all my DFS Army VIPs in an hour or so for the showdown breakdown. Good luck, everybody. See you next time.